Hello Finders crew, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you guys some of my favorite products around the kitchen. Now there are thousands of kitchen gadgets and I've tested hundreds of them, and here are 7 of my absolute favorites. The first one is going to be this scrap collector right here. Now basically what this one will do is it's going to go inside any drawer. So you'll basically open up any drawer just like this and hook it onto the side of it just like that and close the drawer after, so that when you're using that cutting board right here, you can just throw your scraps right into this rather than taking it back and forth to the trash can and everything. So I'll show you guys a few examples. So first up, if you're cutting something like strawberries where you've got to cut off the stems of each of them, you can basically just take a whole bunch of strawberries, throw them on your cutting board at once, cut off those stems, and as you're going, go right into the scrap collector with those stems right there so that they're completely out of your way as you're going. Super, super nice. So just like that, bunch of strawberries are cut up and you got all the scraps for it. Or as another thing that I like to use it for is cutting onions. So I use my mandolin slicer for onions, but you do have to peel them first. So when I'm peeling my onions, obviously the peels are all over the place. It's super nice, again, to just have the scrap collector ready to take all of the onion peels for you as you're going, so you don't get them all over the place. You don't have to stand over a trash can. You can be right at your cutting board, just like you'd want to be. The next product is going to be the mandolin slicer, as I was just talking about with those onions. So I use this one quite literally almost every single day because I cook onions in pretty much everything that I make. Onions are one of my favorite things to put in it, but you can do a whole bunch of things. So it comes with all these blades right here. The smallest one is the one we're going to use for onions. So you can see it does a really nice fine dice just with these this one blade right here. So you'll kind of strap it into the slicer, and that's upside down, but there we go, and lock it shut so that blade can't move afterwards. Be super careful with this blade, it is incredibly sharp. And then all I'm going to do is take my onions, sometimes I quarter them, sometimes I half them, depending on how big the onion is, push it down just a little bit so it kind of gets stuck in there, and then you're just going to close this shut. It is a little bit loud, so I'm going to stop talking while I push this shut, but you're going to see how easy it is and how quick it is to get this onion fully diced. And that's it. That was maybe 10 seconds or so. And you can see it's just a perfect dice on all of the onions. Every single little piece is just perfectly diced in there. And if you guys are anything like me, I usually cry so much when I'm cutting onions, but this, no tears at all, which is just another benefit. The other thing I like to use it for really often is with this slightly larger blade. It'll actually make perfect French fries out of potatoes. So I'm gonna throw this one in the mandolin slicer. Sometimes I cut the potatoes in half. I'm gonna try to not cut it with this one. It's a pretty small potato, so I'm just gonna toss it in here just like this. And this one I'm gonna put in vertically, and again, kind of just stick it into that blade a little bit. And let's see if we can push this down. It might be a little too big. Looks like it wasn't, so perfectly done. And you can see just perfect thick cut French fries out of all of those in literally seconds. Would have taken minutes with a knife. Next up is going to be a product called the Kitchen Mama. Now I've used quite a few automatic can openers in the past, but they're all wired. Besides this one right here is the only wireless one I've tried. So this one can open cans of any size. I'm going to start with just a regular can of black beans right here, and basically you just put it so that this is kind of between the edge of the can. So you'll just kind of put it just like this. It does magnetize onto it as well. Not strong enough to lift up the can, but you can kind of feel it when you're doing it. And then you just click the button right here. It is a little bit loud also. And as you can see, it just automatically spins for you. And then once it goes around one full time, you'll just click the button on the top to stop it. Just like that. And it should just lift up the lid perfectly for you, just like that. So you can see the lid obviously is magnetizing to that, and it also makes it so that the edges aren't sharp at all. Like this has no sharpness to it, which I haven't experienced out of many can openers. This is completely safe to touch right there. And next up, to pair with this open can of black beans that's honestly pretty difficult to get the liquid out of, is this can strainer right here that you can actually also use for a tuna press or a tuna strainer, but I'm just going to use it on the black bean can today. So basically what you do with this one is you just put it right on top of this can right here. It fits right over it. You got handles on the side also so that you can hold the handles and the can of black beans just like this right here. And then you simply just turn it over like you would with a regular strainer, and it's gonna strain it out. So here we go. I'm just gonna flip it over, and just like that, all of the liquid, and you can even shake it a bit, all the liquid easily comes out of this black bean can right there. You can see obviously the thick liquid is still in there because that's not going to strain out, but if you want to like rinse it again, put more water in here, And then do the same thing to rinse those black beans. Rinses those out, gets all the liquid out of your cans. So this right here is one of the best juicers that I've found for both lemons and limes. Basically, if you leave this on, it'll work for lemons, and you just take the yellow piece off and then you can juice limes. So I'm gonna show you both of those. Basically, you'll just take half of your lemon here and put it right onto that yellow thing and just twist it like you'd expect with a juicer. And it's gonna get everything out of that lemon, every little last drop. The seeds are also gonna collect on the top right there. So you can kind of see that the seeds are not falling down into there. But then on the bottom, you've got all of your juice, and it even tells you like how many tablespoons it actually is. It's a little bit tricky to see in writing, but it does tell you that that's about, I don't know, it says it's about 4 tablespoons of lemon juice right there. And then I'll switch it over to lime mode just by taking this yellow piece off, and now I can juice limes on there just as easily. So exactly the same process, just put this on top and start twisting those limes. And again, pretty much nothing left inside of that lime after you juice it. Seeds are caught on top again if there are any. I'm not actually seeing any in this lime right here. And you can see that it's a ton of lime juice from just half of a small lime right there. Next up is gonna be my absolute favorite whisk. Now, you might be thinking it's just to whisk like every other whisk, but this one's really, really cool because it actually folds completely flat as you're seeing right here. And then you twist the bottom of it right here to open up the whisk, basically as much as you want to turn it into a full-size whisk or a half-size whisk if you want, basically whatever you want to do with it. This is really useful if you're stirring things up that get stuck on the whisk, which I know we've all experienced. So we got some brownie batter here. I'm just gonna mix this up with a whisk. And look, it's all caught in the whisk right there, which is normally pretty difficult to get off of. So what you can do, once there's a ton on there, let's get a bunch on my whisk right here, is flatten the whisk, just like this, completely so that you can just scrape it off on the edges of the bowl right there. And then just kind of hit the sides of it, and basically all of it has now come off the whisk right there. And then you can keep going. And the last product for today is gonna be this strainer right here. Now this strainer is silicone, so it's super easy to store in a drawer, to wash, and it clips onto the side of your pan, so it's way easier to use than those huge strainers. I'll show you guys how it works. So basically these clips on the side right here, you're just gonna put them onto the back of your pot that has, you know, something ready to be strained, just like that. And then you're gonna use it like a regular strainer. So you're gonna grab this pot and bring it over to the sink and strain it all out. And it does hold most or all of that pasta behind that strainer. I let a few pieces go right there to make it super easy, and you don't have to worry about those huge bulky strainers. This one just clips off right after, makes it super easy for washing and doesn't take up a ton of space. If you guys want any of the products that I talked about today, they're all linked in the description down below. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe and like button, and I'll see you guys on the next video.